Reddit, love it, hate it, don't care about it, regardless of your opinion, it is the pinnacle of news, information sharing, knowledge, and of course, memes. Not forgetting that's a very crucial part of Reddit. It's very, very important. It's very important that we all remember all the good memes come from Reddit first. You heard it here. We'll do something a little bit different today. Rather than give an opinion that no one will ever really fucking give a shit about, I thought, you know what, I'll comment on other people's opinions and say if they're shit or not. Because I'm just that nice sort of a person. So, we're going to take a look at the Formula 1 Reddit, sorting it by news so we can see the scum of the earth posts coming through, and give my 2 cents. So this is the Formula 1 subreddit. Of course, we're sorting by news so we can see the most degenerate posts possible that I can put my degenerate opinion on. And the first thing that I saw was this one. Was a question of someone asking by Big Al Thinks, will there ever be a time where it is impossible to improve on a car? All teams have the perfect car. But the answer to that is there is no limit to Formula 1. Formula 1 is the pinnacle of technology of motorsport. Think of it as NASA for space exploration. So many things that we have in our daily lives have come from rocket research from NASA. Same thing in the motorsport world with something like Formula 1. So much cool shit that we see in cars these days comes from developing cars like this. And if we just stop developing and pushing the boundaries, we ain't gonna have swanky ass new cars to have in the future, are we? And that's what we all want. We want swanky ass cars. Which is why it's always important to change the regulations and rules now and then, to let manufacturers want to develop something new to meet that sort of requirement. And by doing that, you create a lot of new innovations in the process. Because remember, kids, motivation is the key to innovation. Why did I do that? Why did I feel the need to do that? Why am I'm taking these off now. That's just embarrassing, isn't it? That's just embarrassing. User Heretic Jedi has said, where do you watch highlights and recaps of races? I've been using the F1 YouTube channel, but they are pretty short most of the time. Is there anywhere else to watch more that isn't paywalled? To that I say, do you expect a lot of other content to be free to you? During the lifespan of a race, the really interesting bits aren't actually that long anyway, so shortened clips is a pretty good ideal way to go on YouTube. I have to say, since the Liberty Media takeover of F1, the social media coverage has been outstanding. Good on Liberty Media for doing what you're doing. Keep it up, guys. Proud of you. Real proud of you. Another one from Big Al Thinks, funniest F1 driver? That is a question and a half. Funniest driver? I have to say, like, Seb cracks some good one-liners these days. He's always making jokes. Any interview you see him at, he's always cracking the joke. So I love that about Seb, that he doesn't take it amazingly always seriously in the interviews all the time. Lando is Lando. He's a memer. Lando is the meme lord. He knows how to make a whole situation funny. Rich Energy acting like they're still sponsoring relating to Haas. What is this? What is this? Oh, really? Really? Using a photo of K-Mag with Rich Energy, that's just scummy. Don't give any sort of support to Rich Energy. They're leeches. Rich Energy. Can we call them leeches? Rich leeches. That's what they do. They just suck the life force out of Formula 1 little. This one looks pretty good. I really like George Russell's red helmet against the Williams livery. I did a watercolor to highlight it. What the? That's a watercolor? Oh wow. That is straight up golden. I don't know how people manage to get such straight lines with these things and get everything so precise. And like the text? How the hell do you do text in watercolor? That's insane. Nice one. GG. Was it Art Kevin? Kevin Art? You go, Kevin. Ooh, this one's kind of interesting. How does one get their kid into F1 in this day and age? Do you mean watching F1 or do you mean like going into F1? Generally curious as to how one would actually set up their kid to eventually get into F1, given they actually have the skill and want. It's all about money. Oh, okay, so they want to get into F1. I'm gonna let you all into a little secret. I'm gonna tell you the 3 requirements you need to get into F1. 1. Big Daddy Billionaire. I said it. Big Daddy Billionaire. Number 2. You gotta be handy on a track. You need to get out on tracks, race, make connections with people, make connections with teams, people who are parts of teams. Get yourself noticed. That's the second requirement. Get yourself noticed. If you want amazingly good or talented or skilled, you can have that big daddy billionaire money to raise the eyebrows of some teams. Requirement number 3. In this day and age, I'd say it's almost necessary to have somewhat of a decent social media presence. More social media presence means more sponsorships, which means more appeal for teams. It's a sad fact of life, but it's true. This is quite an interesting technical question. Downforce and tire degradation, what sort of black magic is Mercedes doing? My understanding is that improved grip from improved aero is not free. With higher downward loads, there's more heat and lateral loads, which is what primarily kills tires. Blah 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 blah. The only thing I can think of is that it's so balanced that they don't push the front nor slide the rear, but still, I definitely agree that it's the superior balance of the Mercedes cars which make their tires last so much longer than everyone else's. We saw in that, like in the Hagara ring, that car was glued to the track at all times. It never slid, it never budged, it never buckled. It was just planted on that track, and because of that, their tires are way more preserved. Why can't last lap Lando be every lap Lando? Just started watching F1 last year and don't understand why Lando can't push harder throughout the race instead of only at the very end. I understand this probably puts more stress on the car, but is it so much stress that could only be done once in a race? Very interesting question. All of us would love it if every car could go full speed, full power every lap of the race. That would make for some really interesting racing. However, cars only have so much fuel they're allowed to carry. Tires wear out much quicker if you push harder. Formula 1 is a lot more about preservation and waiting for the right moment to strike, and more time strategic playing by teams rather than just pushing every single lap. I mean, don't get me wrong, we would all love it if every team could push 100% to the max every single lap, but that can't really happen. So, the next best thing? Pushing when it's necessary. Hungarian Grand Prix, driver standings visualized. Mercedes are flying. Mercedes are flying. There's no. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. There's no one's gonna catch him. Carlos and Lando with his perfect understanding of the Spanish language. We're putting on the big boys. Hell yeah. I look like an idiot, and I love it.
Con la lluvia, con posibilidad de que se seque luego para la carrera, sí, estamos de acuerdo. Pero bueno, la lluvia siempre nos da oportunidades. A todo aquel que no sale en pole position, pues siempre tiene el temor, ¿no?, de que llegue la lluvia, y nosotros lo vamos a intentar aprovechar hoy.
Love that. Little cheeky little bugger, innit? Little fucking cheeky little bugger. Who do you think will be the next champion after Lewis Hamilton? At the moment, Lewis winning seems somewhat inevitable, but at what point he has to lose the championship? Who do you think will be the one to displace him? Well, as it currently stands, the only person really who has an earshot or a chance of beating Lewis is Bottas, and I just don't think he is up to the cut. If George got a Mercedes seat, I reckon in maybe a season or two he would give Hamilton a good run for his money at least. There's a lot of variables in there and it's really hard to say, but difficult to pick. How close was Paris to crashing? That wheel control though. Look at that. He was aiming right down. His car was like, I'm gonna go into the wall. And he was like, nah.
Oh yes, good.
No. Don't keep Checo. Save Checo, please. But then again, it's really hard to stay and compete over Big Daddy Billionaire, so you know. Is Max Verstappen just that much better than any teammate he's had? Pretty new to F1, started watching about 2 years ago, and Max has had a few teammates in that time, but typically none of them can even come close to his pace in qualifying or the race. Answer to that is yes. Let's think about this, right? Max Verstappen is 22 years old. Can't believe I'm saying that. He's 22 years old and he's been driving F1 cars now for 5 years. He joined Toro Rosso in 2015. He's been driving F1 cars for a good chunk of time now. He's had that time to learn, grow and adapt to be the sort of character that he is right now. And that's still a lot more time than his other teammates have had. Daniel Ricciardo was really the only one that could put up a fight with Max. I like this one. Red Bull gives you front wings. Brilliant. Fantastic. GG. Lando helping to strip down his car to today's race. He is such a good sport. This is why he's one of my favourite drivers, because he's such a good sport. He gets involved, he treats everyone, he's so humbling. It's really refreshing to see someone like this. It's adorable. Good job, Lando. Good job, Lando. That's probably it for a little bit of a Reddit browse, and I might do this again in a few days. Have fun. Peace.